Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to Max Potential Coaching. So for today's video, I want to talk about how is coaching effective? What exactly makes coaching effective? I've talked about what coaching is, the pros and cons, what to expect from a coaching session, but I haven't talked about what makes it effective or how is it effective. So I want to share a slide with you. And when I debrief you on this slide, we'll get into some of those reasons that really makes coaching effective so you can have a more concise example and understanding of how this works. Coaching establishes an open but private space for you, the coachee, to say what you really want or need without fear of retaliation or judgment. So having that open space to talk about things. You might think, I can talk to a manager about this. I can talk to some of the senior leaders at work about this. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But with your coach, it's always going to be confidential. So you can really say what's on your mind and get into some of those details that maybe you're reluctant to speak about in a professional setting. Now, the coach's role can include the following bullet points that I have here. And the first one that I have is provide support and accountability. So your coach is going to be in a supportive role to help you, but they're also going to hold you accountable to essentially whatever kind of plan that you end up developing. Your coach will work with you on this, but having that accountability in place is what's going to help you move through the acquisition of your goals or the improvement of your performance, or whatever you might be interested in working with. So having that initial support, you have somebody on your team and you have them there to hold you accountable. That's what's going to kind of keep the ball rolling for you. Next, what we have here is understanding hurdles. So people tend to have an idea of what they might not be so strong in, area of a development or weakness, whatever term you like to use. But having a coach work with you through this can help you understand how effective this weakness may actually be. Are you actually as weak in this area as you think, or is it something that maybe a bias you have toward yourself, or you're just not actually seeing yourself the way that you think you do? I'll touch on that at the bottom of the list here, but I wanted to bring it up right away. So third, identifying strengths and weaknesses. I was kind of speaking to this already, but really taking the time to understand what your strengths truly are and what that means. I'd say, okay, I'm inquisitive, or I tend to be very innovative. That's a great strength to have, but what do those really mean to you? You can unpack a lot of that stuff with your coach, just as you can unpack your weaknesses. What exactly are you weak in? Is it time management? Okay, that's fine. But what exactly does that weakness mean? Is it time management because you get sucked into the work that you do in a very passionate way? Or is it that you just simply do really bad at scheduling things on your calendar? So really unpacking those strengths and weaknesses is going to help you understand how to get more out of your coaching engagement, which is going to lead to more effective coaching. So after that, the development and evaluation of your action plans. Working with a coach, they're going to help you develop an action plan. You are in the driver's seat of developing your action plan of what's going to really work for you. Your coach is going to provide that support, of course, but they're also going to help you evaluate this action plan. The plan that you start with is going to change. I have yet to move through a coaching engagement where we didn't adjust the action plan in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen, but it's highly unlikely. It's like when you first learn how to perform a new task or a new process, or you try something for the first time. Usually you make a lot of mistakes. The second time you go through, you do much better. Third time you improve again. Fourth time, and so forward. So it tends to be that way with your action plan. You might get off to a really good start and say, you know what? I'd really like to adjust X, Y, Z here. And I think I get more out of that. I think it just tends to work with me a bit more than what I previously thought with our previous plan. Unbiased sounding board. So when I was speaking to essentially kind of the paragraph I have up ahead or at the top of the slide, being an unbiased sounding board as a coach is what helps people kind of vent their frustrations. Once you're able to really understand what's bothering you, your coach can listen and say, okay, now I understand what you're dealing with. They're not there to actually judge you for having, frustrations about something, a like or a dislike about someone or something, or just the fact you're just having a really crappy day. They're just there to be an unbiased sounding board. Because once you can vent these frustrations, understand what's really bothering you, then you're typically going to be in a much better position to move forward with your development. And lastly, I kind of spoke to this earlier, but I want to spend a fair amount of time really talking about this because I don't hear it talked about as much as I think it should be. And that is the coach's vantage point. And in parentheses, I have fight the negative version of yourself. So what that really means is when you think of yourself, you tend to think of all the flaws. You look into the mirror and you're like, man, I don't like this. I don't like that. You look at your performance at work. Man, I didn't do a good job here or there. And you tend to, I don't want to say you tend to do this, but a lot of people tend to have some negative self-talk. And the coach's vantage point can be very useful here because they can help see you in an unbiased way that you cannot see yourself. It takes a great deal of self-reflection and self-awareness to get to that kind of point. But this is one of the major tools that a coach has on their coaching tool belt, their vantage point. Being able to see you as you are. This can be extremely helpful to you and also to the coach with helping you with a development plan. You might say, I think I can improve my time management if I just spent 30 minutes at the beginning of every day working on my calendar to organize things in a more efficient way. Your coach might say, you know what, that's a great idea. Maybe you should consider doing that. But I noticed this about you. You tend to get started in the morning in a very productive way. It's not till the afternoon rolls around that you seem to have trouble with your schedule. What do you think about adjusting this to giving yourself some time in the afternoon that's built into managing the rest of your schedule? I say, well, I haven't thought about that. So that's just a quick example of how the coach's vantage point can help you out. So that's a wrap for today. How is coaching effective? Well, there's a variety of ways it's effective. If you have an agreement, a disagreement, a different experience, or something that you feel very strongly about, consider leaving a comment down in the comment section. Let's have some engagement and let's talk more about it. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.